Hello and welcome to Coffee with Jenny B. It's conversations over coffee about community, connections, what brings me joy, and everything in between. I'm your host, Jenny Sakovac. Now, when you think about astrology, what usually springs to mind? Is it horoscopes? Is it knowing your sun sign? But actually, when you think about horoscopes, it's very generic because think about it, you're sharing your horoscope with millions of people around the world. And even though some of it may apply to you, you might be reaching to think, okay, so they're telling me I'm coming into money or I'm going to meet a mysterious stranger. So maybe that might happen and then maybe not. So what do you do when you want to really know what the universe has in store for you? My guest today is someone who is going to share how we can use our birth chart, and that is the chart at the moment of your birth, to determine where the planets are aligned and how that can shape your future and give you that sense of what is my direction? What do I need to do for myself that is going to make my life beautiful, rewarding, fulfilling? My guest today is Alina, who is going to share her story of how she got started as an astrotherapist and tell us a little bit more about how you can benefit from knowing where your planets are aligned. I'm so glad you're here, Alina. Welcome.
Hello, Jenny. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm very excited and grateful.
Well, I'm excited to have you here as well. Now, before we get started, I do want to share that I met Alina back in April, and I've been working with her since that time, and she has made such a difference in my life. And so we're going to find out more about Alina, and then we'll share a little bit more about my story. Now, tell us, what exactly is an astrotherapist?
Astrotherapy is the combination of astrology and therapy. So the way I got into it, I was searching for happiness for so many years of my life. I was changing my hair color, jobs, even husbands. I moved from Uzbekistan to Canada, across the world, hoping to be happy. But when that didn't happen, I kind of started wondering why. That brought me to the thought that happiness is something internal, something that we create within ourselves. And I found at that time a happiness coach certification. So I took that program for my own use. I used the tools. I kind of shifted my life around, changed things up, started feeling better. And that's when I started working with people and helping others. But as I was working with them, I noticed that the same tools don't work the same way for everybody else. So for one person, it can create miracles. For somebody else, it just doesn't do anything. For somebody else, it can be even damaging, right? They get all upset about things that they have to do and kind of depressed. So that made me wonder why. At that time, I accidentally met an astrologer. So I had my first session, which answered so many of my questions. And I dove right into learning astrology. After that, when I was already practicing astrology for about 5 years, I figured that there is one more component is missing, is on your chart, I can see your blocks. I can see what stops you from becoming the best version of yourself. But I didn't know how to help you get through those blocks, which made me do another step and take therapy. So I'm at school now, finishing my certification there, taking therapy class. So right now in my work, I use the combination of astrology and therapy. And I primarily work with women and help them create the best possible lives for themselves and just live up to their full potential. And I know that so many people think that astrology is all about predicting your future. Indeed, I don't predict your future. I help you create the one that you want to have.
I love that. And you know, you're right, because when we think about horoscopes, it's telling you what's going to happen. And so that's basically trying to predict the future. And I guess it's up to you to whether you believe what the horoscope is telling you. But again, as I mentioned, it's so generic because it can apply to absolutely anybody. But when you really sort of drill down and dig deep into determining exactly what works for you, so how important is it to get that birth chart or the natal chart to help in terms of setting up the program or a soul session?
It is important when we talk about horoscopes. Our zodiac sign is our sun in the natal chart, so just one planet out of 10. That's why it is so generic, because there's so many Capricorns or so many Cancers in the world, so we all will have the same horoscope for the day or a week or a month. But each of us has 9 other planets in our charts, which are located in absolutely different signs, different houses, and like in different relationship to each other. So that changes the whole perspective. That's why when you want to dive deeper into it and get more clear on who you are, what is your life purpose, what are your talents, what are your weaknesses, and how to deal with them, it's always good to not just read that horoscope column in the newspaper, but get to work with an astrologer and look at your chart as is.
Okay, that's interesting because when you did my chart, so I'm a Capricorn and my planet is Saturn. And from what I understand, Saturn is the planet of organization and structure. But I don't find I'm always organized and structured. I am for the most part, but sometimes I'm like, oh, squirrel, so I'm always, going in off all kinds of different directions. So why am I doing that? So if I'm supposed to be more structured and organized, why is it that I tend to go off on a tangent?
It happens for many people actually. And so our sun sign, which is our zodiac sign in the chart, gives us some idea of what we are, our certain qualities. And if your sun energy is strong, if you're really aligned with yourself and staying true to your sign, then you would notice that yes, you are organized, you are very career oriented as a Capricorn, you are getting the things done, you are on track with things. But if your sun energy is weak, that's when you don't really feel like you can relate to that energy. So, and it happens to so many people in our lives. And when I'm talking about weak sun energy, that happens with our everyday life, because we usually get so caught up with outside noise when people tell you what you should be, what you have to be like, how you need to live your life. And when you don't have that strong connection to yourself, you start paying attention to everybody else, whatever people are telling you to be like, and that's when you get lost. So looking at your chart and at least starting implementing those qualities into your life, it always helps. But if we look at your soul formula, you don't only have Saturn in your center, you also have the Jupiter, which is the planet of expansion. It's all the big ideas, it's all the optimism and positive energy. And that squirrel that you meet, it could be just that curiosity that your Jupiter brings into your personality, right? So that's why I'm saying there is so many other planets that can also affect you. And what I'm using in my work, it's called soul formula. I do work by the original astrological chart as well, but the method that I'm using is called soul formula. So that one shows exactly what planets are like the most important ones in your chart, and the ones that bring more of those traits into your personality. So looking at that, you can clearly see where you're at and why you're acting certain ways and how to change it if you need to change something.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, because I know in addition to Jupiter being the planet of abundance, it's also the planet of flow. And I find that when I'm aligned with what I'm doing, the flow comes very naturally. I don't even have to think about it. It just, all of a sudden you're thinking, I want to find a parking space, and there it is. Or I've been thinking about buying this thing, and all of a sudden there it is. And so it's magic, but it's not really magic. It all starts with you. Now, what about the moon? So we talked about the sun. So the sun is, so what people see. But the moon, is that more about what you are inside?
Yes, moon is all about your emotions.
Okay.
That's how you feel on the inside, your emotional balance. And the same idea with the moon. If it's out of balance, that's when you feel down, you feel lost, you feel depressed. And when you're balancing that energy, that's when you feel that safe space on the inside. Like you feel like you are protected, you got it. The world is a safe environment for you. The universe got your back, right? So it all kind of like one leads to another.
Yeah.
When you have balanced moon energy, you feel safe and protected. You know that it's okay, it's safe to be yourself, to show up in this world, to show your talents. Then the strong sun energy gives you this opportunity. You are able to show up and share what you are, what you like, your ideas, your talents with the world, help others. And then there is other planets. There is Venus, it's all about your feminine energy and the ability to enjoy things in your life. There is Mars that gives you this fiery energy of achieving things and turn you into this go get it kind of person. Then there is the Saturn that can come up as fears if it's imbalanced. Or it can give you this boost and a good structure for you to achieve your goals. There is this Jupiter, which is also called the planet of big luck. That's why you can feel this flow this way. It just brings things to you easily, as long as you are following its direction. So if you are staying optimistic and positive and always going big and setting like good ambitious goals for yourself, that's when it kind of like dives into this and helps you on the way. So yeah, it's like all connected and one thing leads to another one.
Absolutely. I want to touch on the moon for a second because my moon is in Aquarius. And from what I understand, so I talked about me being distracted and kind of, like squirrel and all over the place. And part of that is the Aquarius, because that is, so if I'm not on my path and I'm not maybe 100% sure of how I'm expressing myself, so I know you've talked to me about, I should be posting more and putting myself out there. And I'm like, I don't know. So that's the Aquarius kind of giving me that little bit of self-doubt versus maybe the Saturn saying, no, you got this, you can do it. So when that happens, what can we do to counteract some of that maybe uncertainty?
Based on your chart, based on the signs in your chart, you can always do some things, take actions to complement that energy. So for example, for Aquarius energy, when you say I get all distracted and kind of like all over the place and I cannot get myself together and focus on the task, for Aquarius you can bring some more of that. It's like you can build a community. So, or join a community. So every time you spend time with like-minded people, you calm that energy.
Okay.
So you bring more of that. Or you can go cycling, for example. Or you can start using more gadgets and some modern technologies in your projects, which also will be boosting this Aquarius energy. And it's normal because like if we think of that, Aquarius is the air sign. So it's the air.
Yeah.
It's free. It doesn't want to be stuck in the pattern. It doesn't want to follow some structure. I just want to be free and do whatever it wants, right? Today I want to do this, tomorrow I want to do that. And it's like always like free-spirited and going with the flow kind of thing. When Saturn is the earth sign, it wants to be grounded.
Yep.
It wants to have a certain path and know where it's going and why.
Yes.
So when you have the set goals and you see what's your end result is going to be and what steps you need to take, it always makes it better and easier and you get more productive as well. So knowing those energies and how to work with them, you can always add a little bit of distraction for your planet so it doesn't take a toll on your work, for example, if that's where you need to focus. And also if we look at this from like the inner child perspective, so as our personality, there is an inner child and inner adult. So when the child wants to just play and have fun and enjoy things and explore, the inner adult tells you, okay, you need to get to work. You need to get things done.
Yeah.
Right? So it's normal. It doesn't mean that that part of you that wants to look at the squirrel is a bad part. There is nothing wrong with that. But as a combination of both, you need to be mindful of that and give yourself time to explore and hang out with squirrels. And then we have time where we are working and setting goals and achieving them.
So being a little bit more free-spirited is a chance for you to, okay, I've been working hard, I'm being really structured and organized, and now I need to let off some steam, I need to go out and play. And so this is an opportunity to, use your energy and explore and do kind of some fun stuff, and then think, okay, so I've done my fun stuff and now I need to come back and be a little bit more structured. But sometimes, though, you can get a little carried away in doing the fun stuff. So how do you rein that in? What are some tips that you can give us on terms of coming back to where we need to be?
So first of all, being mindful.
Okay.
This is the only, and I know people always look for some magic pill that I'll do this and everything kind of falls in place, but it's not going to happen. It's you're taking responsibility for your own life, and you take steps. You're just being mindful of where you put your energy and what you want the outcome to be. Taking responsibility for that, right? Another thing is that we're all different. Just be very clear on who you are. We were just actually at Made to Grow branch, and that's what we're talking about, being clear on who you are and stay true to yourself and connected to yourself. Because for you, it's Aquarius and Saturn. For me, it's Taurus and Cancer, for example,
Ooh, okay.
right? So it's totally different energies.
Yes.
For me, it's more like I don't have that structure in me. I don't have those certain plans that I put out and I take steps every single day. For me, it's hard. I'm a water sign, so for me, I want to be in the flow, which is also very difficult when you have to grow a business. But just being mindful and using the tools and asking for help or hiring help, that's the only solution. But the key is to understand yourself and knowing why you're doing this, what do you need to do for achieving that goal, and understanding your energies you can support you along the way.
I like that. Now, I want to think about what you had said about all the planets. So we've got Venus and Jupiter and Saturn, Mars, we have Uranus and Pluto, although Pluto is not necessarily technically a planet,
Still in
but
the charts,
it's
yes.
still in the charts. We need to address or fulfill what the planets want us to do, and that sounds like a lot of work. But is it really a lot of work, or can we actually incorporate that into our daily lives?
I would put it the other way. The planets are showing you who you are.
Okay.
And indeed, like, we're always so focused on what we need to become, how we need to get better and stronger and more successful. Indeed, I see it as just coming back to yourself and peeling all those layers of what our parents told us we should be like, what our teachers told us we should be like, our neighbors, friends, whoever, whatever society is expecting of us. There's too many layers of that. And sometimes it's really hard to connect with yourself and understand, what do I actually want? And it's interesting because in my work with clients, when people come, what do you want? And people have no clue. They don't know what they want. Or as simple as, what do you like to do? And they don't know. They start going into something where they need to be productive, or I have to be a good mother. But what do you like to do for yourself on your free time? And many don't even have free time, and they have no idea what to do with themselves. And so many people are afraid to be on their own because they feel the feelings, and it's not always easy. And I remember myself when I just started my journey, I remember somebody asked me, what's your favorite flower? And I said, it's a yellow rose. I said it right away, it's a yellow rose. Then later I realized that's my mom's favorite flower.
Oh, okay.
That's not mine.
Right.
I like them. I like all the flowers because I have Venus in the chart, but that wasn't mine. And how many of those ideas that I picked up from the outside world that were not mine either? It was a lot.
It's amazing how other opinions, other, like you say, likes, are influencing what you are liking. And it's really getting down to understanding who you are, as you've mentioned. Now, I remember when I first met you, and you were going to do my soul session. And I was a mess. I didn't know, I was overwhelmed, and I didn't know what direction to go in. And I think we spent 2 hours talking about, my chart, and you put together, how many pages was it? It was like 10, 12, 20, I don't know. But what's interesting is my favorite part of what you gave me is a list of my limiting beliefs. And you didn't tell me how to fix it. You didn't tell me what to do. You just said, this is what I see. If you were to fix this for yourself, in a sense, then you would be on track. And I thought, oh my gosh, is it really that easy? But it's not really easy, because unless you're willing to put in the work, it's not going to happen. And so I did the work. And not only that, but I realized that, yes, all of these things were holding me back. And it wasn't like I was tied to a chair and my arms and I couldn't move. I was holding myself back because I wasn't sure about what I wanted. And once I realized that I needed to follow the direction that I was going in, working the magic of Jupiter and Venus and Mars, because I'm a go-getter. I'm just like, all over the place, and give me something and I'm on it right away. That's Mars. Jupiter, the abundance, the flow, Saturn being structured, Venus, looking after myself when I'm taking, let's say, a bubble bath, or I'm going for a walk, or I'm getting my nails done. That's satisfying that feminine energy for myself. And so when I asked you, is it a lot of work making sure that all the planets are doing what they're supposed to do? It's actually not. It's what do you need in that moment that is going to make life easier for yourself.
And, it's very interesting because so many people are looking for some big steps to take to change their lives. And I remember you, now I'm thinking, I regret we didn't have our session on video or something, because you look totally different.
Yeah.
Your energy is so different. Like back then, you looked sad.
Yeah,
You look very sad and defeated. And
Yeah.
now you're glowing. And I can sense the Jupiter energy right here.
Yep.
Right? But if we look at it, these 6 months, I believe, you didn't do any like major changes. Like you didn't move across the world,
Nope.
You didn't divorce, didn't get a new husband, you didn't get a new job, you didn't sell the house and didn't go travel the world. Like nothing too crazy.
No.
All you've done is working with your emotions, working with your limiting beliefs every single day. It sounds like it's easy.
Yeah.
It can be tricky there.
Can be.
Some things were not that easy. Sometimes working on yourself is actually harder than moving and getting a divorce, right? But if we look at it, there was nothing like super major, nothing too crazy.
No.
But you have a phenomenal change in your life. And that's what's important. The little steps, the little choices we make every single day, and they don't have to be very elaborate, like something simple, but every day it makes a bigger change at the end.
I agree. And you're right, it wasn't a lot, but it was based on your guidance and our sessions. And I want to talk about that because we talked about creating a soul session. And that's our introduction to, first of all, learning about our chart, and then learning about our limiting beliefs, and perhaps looking at our strengths and what are perceived as weaknesses, and maybe even talking about our financial picture, right? Because when we think about money, if I said to the universe, I'd love $1 million, well, the universe isn't going to go, okay, here you go, $1 million. But if you phrase it in a way, I'm looking to the universe and say, I'm asking for abundance. I'm asking for opportunities. And so the universe is going to go, okay, well, here's an opportunity for you. Here's a job that's coming up, or here's a chance to get money. And even putting manifestation into it. Like if I say, I want to do this course and it's going to cost $900, but I don't have $900, guess what? If you believe that you are going to do this and eventually it's going to happen somehow, and it's not magic, but somehow that $900 will appear in your life. And it's believing in the fact that this is going to happen for you. So in terms of the soul session, and then you've got your Astrotherapy program, can you tell us a little bit about how we can start with the soul session, and then tell us a little bit about that Astrotherapy program?
So originally we start with the soul formula session where we work on your chart. I need your date, time, and place of birth for that to be able to build your chart. So in that chart we see your weaknesses and strengths and talents and your life mission and the purpose and everything that you need to work with throughout your life. So at that session, you can always ask questions and set some goals. Like, for example, I want that $1,000,000. How do I get there, right? And that's when we work on some kind of a plan, step-by-step plan for you to get to your goals. This is just a one-time session.
Yep.
So there is also a 10-week program, which Jenny did take as well. And that's when we work week by week with everything that we discovered in your chart. So when you need the support to overcome those limiting beliefs, to just some sort of accountability, and to share your ideas, to share your emotions, to work through those blocks, that's when this program is being helpful. So that's a 10-week program, and we kind of like, I'm supporting you on your way to your goals. So those are the two things. And I also have a few of group activities, I would say, coming up. So that will be all my social media as well.
Mm-hmm. I know. And Alina, you did a challenge. It was a little while ago.
Yes.
And
Last month.
That's right. And every day for 7 days, it was something different. So it was a different planet every day. And I was so excited to do the challenge because I thought, okay, so what am I going to do today? So the day that it was, I think it was Mars, where we had to go climb a hill or go hill climbing or something.
Yeah.
I did that. I went.
It was Tuesday.
I went to Garbage Hill, and I'd never actually climbed it. I mean, I went up the path. That's a concrete path, but I decided to go across the other side. And there was a path that I didn't even know existed, and so I followed it, and I didn't know where it was going to take me, but I said, I'm on this path and I'm going. But you know, when I got to the bottom of Garbage Hill, I felt like, wow, that was amazing. And I mean, it was just like, it's just a hill, it's not a mountain. But I just felt so energized by the fact that I did something completely different. I went off the beaten path. And I loved it, and it made me think that maybe I should do that a little bit more, and not just stick to the tried and true, but try something different. You know, go a different direction. And I think that sometimes we are so stuck on, you know, like my husband calls blinders, like we have to go this way, that we don't think that, you know what, there's other opportunities for us to try something different.
And that's what I was saying about the Saturn energy and the things you can do to kind of work with it, right? So mountains is the Saturn energy.
Okay.
So climbing the mountains, going up, or even climbing the career ladder, that's all about Saturn. So that's how you can bring more of that into your life. So for example, if you're lacking structure and your life feels like a chaos and you're like all over the place, and you need to get a hold of that energy, you can go
climb a
mountain. Or I know that you start going to the hive climbing after that. So that's another opportunity. And it might sound like it's crazy or some magical or woo-woo stuff, but indeed it all works. That's how you complement that energy, and you balance it and make it work in your favor versus against you.
Yeah, I agree. And that feeling back in April, actually it was, I think in March, we met in March, that feeling that I had of being overwhelmed and sad and defeated, and just, I had no structure at that point. And I haven't had that feeling ever since, because I'm in tune with my energies, I'm in tune with what the universe is directing me. And it's by paying attention to my emotions. And sometimes, you know, there's that feeling where, you know, you can get a little out of control. But right away, I understand what's happening, and I can rein it back. And okay, so what do I need to do to satisfy my energy? What do I need to do in that moment? And sometimes it's not even doing anything. It's taking a step back and just letting things be. But it's understanding and learning to recognize, what does my body need? What does my mind need? What does my soul need? And then what does my heart need?
And that's why it's important to know yourself.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even have to be astrology. Astrology is just simpler and clearer way to see it. You see what it is. You can spend time just connecting to yourself and learning about your values, what's true to you, what you would like to stand up for, and like just going really deep in this connection with yourself. That might work as well. But that's exactly what you were saying, because earlier you were talking how to become a millionaire, for example. I just had a funny conversation when the person who I've known him for a while, he asked me, so what do you do? He didn't know about astrology. So I said, I'm an astrologer. He said, haha. People usually get sarcastic when they hear that.
Yeah.
So then he's like, so when will I become a millionaire? And again, astrology is not about predicting when you will become a millionaire. I'm more about telling you how to become a millionaire, which I told him. I said, I don't know when, but I can tell you exactly what you need to do to become one. He laughed at me and he said, well, I know, I just need to work more. Which is, it could be the case for him. I don't know his chart. For me, it works the opposite way. The moment I stop working and I spend more time with my family, because I'm Cancer, and I have the moon in my soul formula center. When I start spending more time with my family, when I'm more relaxed, when I don't rush, when I don't set those crazy goals and follow them, that's when I make more money. So it's all different for everybody. That's why I say do not listen to others. Like, stay true to yourself. If everybody says you have to do that to become something, well, if it doesn't feel comfortable, maybe that's not the case. Don't dive right in.
No, you're right. So tell us, Alina, so for someone who wants to, first of all, create their chart and to work with you, how can they do that?
You can reach out to me on Instagram, which is Alina in Winnipeg, all one word. And that's actually interesting because when I moved to Winnipeg, like all the changes that are happening for me was my personal growth. And I refer to Alice in Wonderland. That's why it was Alina in Winnipeg.
Oh, I love that.
So yeah, you can reach out to me and just message me and let me know what questions you have. And I'll be happy to connect with you. And I can just, maybe we can give some ideas of what it is like, it's kind of like what your energy is and what your mission is, because so many people are caught up in these ideas that they have to be a certain way, when indeed we're all different. And even based on our horoscope and our zodiac signs, which is limiting, it's a very limited information, but it still gives us information and we still can connect with it and use it in our power, right? So for example, water signs, they're very supportive, and it's all about unconditional love and creating the family-like environment. So this is what I'm doing, and even in my work, and even before I became an astrologer and therapist, when I was working as a dog groomer, I always created this family-like connections with my people, with my clients, because we stay in touch, we connect on Christmas days and stuff like this, so we always talk to each other. And it's not like they come, get their service done, and leave me. I always think of them, I can message them, I can call them, we can chat, so it's always very close. And this is what the water people are. Like, we are very emotional, we are very loving and supportive to the point where we help other people grow, right? So then if we talk about fire signs, fire is the leaders. They bring some ideas into this world. They start the things, start the projects, and go and get them done. They might not necessarily finish them because they might not have enough patience for that. They're very quick to act. So this is their idea, just to bring that spark, to start something, to get the project going. Then we have the air people, the air signs, who are taking that idea from the fire people and spread it all over the world. They tell people what's possible. They kind of gossip around and share some knowledge and share some ideas, and they connect people together, right? So somebody knows somebody and then they introduce them. So that's what the air signs life purpose pretty much. And then there is the earth people who are the ones to go and get it done. The earth people are able to work every single day, put some work, be on track, and you don't get bored. You don't get tired of it because you see that goal and you just moving towards that goal. That's all that counts for you. And in combination, so if everyone is playing their own roles, that's what's important. That's why the community is so important, right? So you have somebody who brings the idea, you get somebody who introduce you to somebody else, then you get people who pick up that idea and they actually get the work done. Then you have somebody who believes in you and supports you. So it's all the combination.
It is, absolutely. And I think for me, because so Capricorn is earth and Aquarius is air. And so I'm grounded and I do the work, but then I use my Aquarius, my moon, to connect people.
You're amazing at that.
Yes,
absolutely.
And it's all about, you're right, it's all about community. It's all about working together and sharing our strengths and supporting each other and really working together. And that's what I love about the community that you've actually started to create, because you are building on your knowledge, your guidance, and what I love about what you offer is the fact that, just like a therapist, they never tell you what to do. They never say, oh, I think you should do this. What they do is they ask those hard questions. And by asking us those hard questions, and you've asked me some really hard ones, and a few times it's been really hard for me to answer. It's like, I have no idea how I'm going to answer that, but I know that I need to answer it, and so I have to dig deep inside myself and find that answer. And sometimes we're scared to look inside because, again, it's that inner child, maybe the one that's been traumatized, or there's lots of hurts in there. We don't want to look at that anymore. And so when you're forced to look deep, and maybe at the same time you're healing some of that hurt, which then allows you to really blossom into the person that you were meant to be.
Exactly. And that's why I'm there, right? To support and give you that unconditional love and tell you that even if you are not fully healed, even if you have some trauma, even if you're not perfect in certain ways, even if you're not a perfect Capricorn, that's okay. That's life. There's nothing wrong with that. We don't have to be perfect.
No.
That's not the idea. We need to be true to ourselves, authentic, but not perfect.
No, you're absolutely right. And that's a really good way to segue into ending our conversation about such a wonderful topic. And I really want to encourage you to connect with Alina on Instagram. So Alina in Winnipeg, all one word, and learn how she can really help you and guide you in finding who your true self is, because it's made such a difference for me. And I'm a changed person, and I didn't do anything magical. I didn't do anything crazy and big and stupendous. Little steps every day in listening to myself and believing in myself. So thank you so much for being here, Alina. I really enjoyed listening to more about who you are and sharing your gift to the world.
Thank you so much, Jenny, and thank you so much, everybody, for watching us. It was a great experience. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad it was. So this is Coffee with Jenny B on the Multicultural channel.